It's all right. I'll change it later. All right. Let's share the screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, you guys. So this is one of my favorite. Well, it's not my number one, but it is a great scroll to look at. I don't want anyone to be discouraged about what I'm about to tell you. The book of Bereshith is not, okay? It is not the Torah. It's not the Torah. The Torah is instructions. The book of Bereshith gives us an account of creation. It gives us an account of the power of the Creator. Well, what we don't want to do is include that in the Torah, because a lot of people get that confused. And the Torah was given to the children of Israel, okay, by the Creator at Mount Sinai. Now, is there any other Torah besides the Torah that was given to us? Well, we have to look at what Torah actually means. Torah is instruction, okay? So the Torah of Moshe, okay, is what they looked at and how which includes the Mishpatim and the Kukim, and the Moedim and all those different sorts of things. And I just want to be real clear. This is not the Torah of Moshe, okay? This is Yahweh's Torah. This is his instructions, okay, that he gives to us, okay, that is not supposed to be used for us in terms of, I want to be careful what I say, not in terms of how to live, and no, meaning don't create a doctrine. You can't create a teaching. The Torah that he gave Moshe is enclosed, and it does include, circumcision. We have a Torah that tells us that we need to circumcise our sons on the 8th day. That's in the Torah, but it's also in these instructions that he gave to our fathers. This is going to be talking about the generations and talk about how they all came to be and how Israel came to be as a people. So I want to be just kind of careful, because often, like I said, people get this mixed up, and what they do is they go into Genesis and try to create a new doctrine or some other things like the Christians do. That's not what it is. We have to be okay with the fact that the Creator did speak words to our father Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, and he gave them instructions, which we'll find in the book of Genesis, right? But the instructions that he gave to the children of Israel is different than what he gave them, okay? I just want to be clear. The promises that he gave to our fathers, Abraham and Yitzchak, apply to us and their descendants. So this is primarily about the promises. And you also know that the Creator, it says in Genesis 26:5 that he told Yitzchak, hey, your father, he followed all my instructions. He followed my Kukim and my Torah. He did. So is it the same Torah? Is it the same? He doesn't declare that. There's different things. There's customs that are passed and traditions. But overall, when you look at the Torah, when he told us to read the Torah at the end of 7 years, he's not telling us to read from Genesis all the way to Deuteronomy. Okay, so the Torah is primarily a recalling of it is in Deuteronomy, going all the way from chapter number 4. Okay, he tells us in chapter number 4, these are the rulings and the Kukim, and then I'm telling you in the Torah that I'm instructing you today. Okay, so from Deuteronomy chapter number 4 until the end, that's the Torah. That's the Torah. The book of Midbar, that's the accounts of the wilderness. Leviticus, that's when I called out names and I told you guys what it was. Is there Torah inside of those books? Yeah, there's Torah inside of those books, but a recounting of all that is summarized in Deuteronomy, right? Because he doesn't talk about, there were certain things he didn't talk about, later in the book of Deuteronomy. But the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshith, is not the Torah that was given to the children of Israel, right? The first word that we have in the book of Genesis called Bereshith, and in Bereshith is our word Rosh, and Rosh means the head or the summit or the first of things. So when it has Bereshith, let me see if this works. My goal and my desire for us as a people is to know how to understand the writings of the Creator. That's my job. Okay. So in the Torah, they got the word, put the bet right here. And then it's this ith right here. Bereshith. Okay. The root, as we always look for, everyone, is right here. Okay. And that tells us that it's the head, it's the summit, it's the first of things. Okay. So, and he says that this is the Bereshith, this is in the beginning, in which the Elohim, he created the heavens and the earth. So this is the top of everything that he's doing, at the summit, the pinnacle of what he's done. The first opening line is giving us like pretty much not a summary, but it's kind of letting us know the end from the beginning. And then verse number 2, he's going to begin to tell us how he did that. All right. So Rosh is that, the head of it. Okay. And what does Rosh mean? Well, Rosh, of course, the concrete of it is it's a head. It's the head of something. The head of families, the head of generations. I'm not going to read this out, but just little parts I'm bringing out of it. Is the chief or the head of the family. It's the head of grains. It's the head of everything. The head of a person, the head of a time. Okay. So it's literally, that's why they call it the beginning, because it's the head. It means the inheritor is something to inherit. Okay. When I think about this, the Creator, and this is also to the root for a word called, is it called Yerash? Yeah, Yerash. Yerash is to, here it is. So Yod, and then it has the Resh, and then it has the Shin. And this right here means to inherit. So you see the word Rosh again. It's called Yah-Rosh, okay? Yah-Rosh. That means to inherit. So when the Creator has decided to fill this earth and to create and, to bring about and fill this earth with things, it's only for the purpose of giving something, to give an inheritance from one generation to the next generation. We read in Deuteronomy that he says that when he put the nations together, he thought about Yisrael, and he said, Yisrael is going to be my inheritance. He's also picked us to be the head of the nations. Okay. So what this is telling us right here is that he's the head of nations. Everything that was created was for the sake of Yisrael to be the dominant people on the face of this earth. So the head will inherit everything. Remember, he told us that the whole world is his, it's mine, right? So when he made the earth and he filled the earth and he put it all together, it was for the sake of the children of Yisrael. This word bara, which is the second word, it says in the beginning, Bereshith bara. Bara means not to create. That's a misinterpretation of this word. Is not create. Doesn't mean this. It does not mean create. Okay. Somebody tell me, how do you know that it doesn't mean it, just from based on what you read so far? How do you know that he didn't create it in a sense of right then? How do you know that? Any ideas? Let me ask another question. When he came to the earth, what was it like?
Void.
It was void. And what else?
Darkness.
It was darkness. Perfect. So literally, it what? It existed. It already existed. Something that's created, listen, something that's created means that it doesn't exist, okay? That it has to come into being. This earth is already here, okay? So I need you to wrap your mind around it. If you wrap your mind around the idea of the earth already being here, then you can better understand what he's talking about when he says that he filled it, okay? So it was void. It was complete misery and darkness. But it says that Yahweh had created, which is wrong. He actually did something different. He didn't create it. But we do know this for sure. He is the creator of the entire universe and everything in it. And that's including mankind and everything is in images and so forth. So let's look at it a little careful. So this word create, which is a misinterpretation of the word, it's an abstract thought that comes from the Western culture of the Greeks and the Romans. It has nothing to do with the way that Yah has told us what it is. The word bara has two letters in it, and those two letters are represented by the letter B and the letter R. And if we put them in Hebrew, it's a bet and, of course, a resh, bar, okay? Bar, okay? The action is to feed, okay? And the concrete of it is a grain. So when we look at this picture, right, the picture of a tent is the letter for bet, and which also represents the family. Anytime you think about a tent, you're thinking about the family that resides inside the tent, okay? The next one is a picture of a head, which is the letter Rosh, meaning the head, okay? So the family of heads. The plant families are the families of grains, such as wheat and barley, and a cluster of seeds at the top of the stalk called the heads. Just like we said in the book, or excuse me, in the definition of Rosh, Rosh is the head or the summit or the beginning of something. So the beginning, the head of it. So in context, what we're talking about is when he's saying in the beginning, in the summit of things, the creator has decided to have a family of heads, okay? The head of the family. And in this case, he's going to let us know the heads of the families. So everything that came into existence, and that there are certain things that were made, and there are some other things that were filled, okay? And there were also some things that were declared. But at any rate, what this is talking about is that Yah is talking about really about feeding people food, okay? Now, when you think about this, the word bar is in all types of words. And one of them is called not only bara, right? It's not bara, but and not only better shith, right? But there's also one called the ba rith. Somebody tell me if you can remember what's a ba rith. Do you know? You guys know what a berith is? I'll give you an idea. The berith is dealing with circumcision. So what is it?
Is it the 8th day?
Yeah, it's the 8th day, but the circumcision was given to our father Abraham as a what?
Covenant.
As a covenant. Thank you. So what this has to do with, this word barith has the word bar in it as well. Okay. And the reason why they would feed the livestock, it was used for food. Okay. So a covenant is dealing with food. So when the creator says that I'm going to make a covenant with you, he's always referencing first and foremost food, which has to do with that your soul needs in order to eat, because your soul is your body, your mind, and your life is your stomach. So when he talks about covenant, when he talks about giving land, he's not giving them land just so they can say they're landowners. He's giving them land because on the land, you're going to have food, you're going to have livestock, and you're going to have food. Yah wants to literally feed his people forever. And he wants to give us the best food that's available. That's why he says, I'll make your vineyards and your food will be famous. You guys are going to be very famous for your food and the stuff that comes out of your land. So when we think about this, in order for that to happen, and not only just for Yisrael, but when he's talking about for the entire world, Yah's desire is to feed the world. If you didn't have any food, then you won't survive. See? So, and then also too, when they would feed the grains for food to both the man and the livestock, right? That would fill them up. So this word has to do with filling, okay? It has to filling, right? To max them out. And also when you fill them with food, what are you doing to the animal? If the animal was skinny or had to grow, and you fill them with a whole bunch of food, a whole bunch of grain, what happens to the animal?
Get fat.
He gets fat. So what Yah is really saying that he is fattening up the earth and the heavens. I'm going to put things in it. Because right now, when I got there and I showed you, it was void, it was dark, and it was miserable. Okay. That's what it is. Dark, miserable, void. Okay. And nothing in it. You understand? But water, it has water in it. But if the water doesn't have any, water didn't have any life in it. So literally there's no life. So the idea of the creator is to create an environment that has to do with food. And the only way that food can happen is through what they would call the heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth are going to work in unison together to provide the food for man and animals and whatever else that he makes. It's an ecosystem. So that's where you and I live. We live in an ecosystem. Okay. So that's what we need to understand. So once we start capturing this thought about agriculture, because you and I are an agricultural people, our fathers were, that's what they were. So who is doing this? Well, the name of Yahweh is not mentioned in chapter number 1. It doesn't get mentioned until you get to chapter number 2, I believe, verse number 3 or 4. Okay. So we went over this before about Elohim. Elohim is the power of all powers. Within his name, okay, or this title here is El. And you know what Aleph is. That's an ox. And you know what the Lamed is. It's a staff, which is a strong authority. Okay. And this Em right here is the multiplication of that. Is times, meaning power of powers. He's multiple powers. He's not just one power. And the powers that he has is the powers over the water. He has power over the fire. He has power over the earth and the dirt and the ground. And he has power over the sky, which is called the heavens. Okay. The waters are the seas and the rivers and all bodies of water. Okay. So we have these 4 elements here that he's in charge of, that we know of. We're not even talking about the solar power outside in the universe. We're talking about the ones that we're having to deal with. Okay. So the creator has always been around and he's in charge of everything. Okay. So everything that you and I see, he's in charge of all the forces of nature. He's in charge of thunderstorms, lightning storms, earthquakes, everything that you can think of. He's in charge of it. Okay. So where does his title come from? That's the question. And it's always good to go over it. We went over just a little bit there. It's an ox. Okay. That's what an aleph is. Okay. The next one is a lamed, which is represented by a yoke. And that's the action. Okay. And the abstract is that has to do with strength. So according to this word, and again, you can see the agricultural aspect of dealing with an ox head, right? And you're dealing with strength. Well, what do you mean by this? Well, the picture of the shepherd's staff represents the authority of the shepherd. And you combine these together, it means the strong authority, which we all know. And it can also mean anyone or anything of strong authority. The creator himself is the strong authority on everything. See, so the yoke was understood as the staff that's being put on the shoulders, right? And then they give us a scripture that tells us about that. In order to harness the power, okay, of the loads that are being pulled by the wagon or the plow. So again, agriculturally, it's talking about this ox, it's talking about this yoke, and it's being taught by this strong authority. And so what happens? It tells us that the older and more experienced ox is the one who is teamed up and yoked with the younger, less experienced ox. And then the older ox in the yoke is the strong authority, which is the one who teaches the younger ox. What are you and I to derive from this? The creator himself is saying, if I'm going to be your Elohim, I'm going to be your strong authority. I'm actually going to be the one to teach you. I'm going to teach you the way to walk. I'm going to teach you what needs to be done. And then once you get strong enough, right? And I bring you to that point where I know that you can handle it, then guess what? You no longer have to be yoked in that way to me anymore. Now that you got it. So the creator has shown us through the prophets that his goal is to take Israel and bring them into a strong ox. Okay. Well, I wrote Hebrew and English at the same time. An ox. And we find this in the book of Bamidbar, when that prophet or that seer Balaam said, the Creator has made them into a strong ox. It was prophesied that you and I would be a strong ox. He says in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 33, when he gives out the promises, that he says that the house of Joseph or Yosef is going to be a strong ox. He tells us in the book of Isaiah that I'm going to yoke together Ephraim and Yehuda so they can be the ones who will pull the yoke together. Okay. That's what the goal is to put them together so they can do the work that I need for them to do, which is to go through the earth and cultivate it and to show the people how things are supposed to get done. But you have to be trained. Okay. So that's what that's about. You know what Shamayim is? The Shamayim is not a place called heavens in the sense in English, but it just basically means the two waters. Question for you: what letter here tells you that? Which one of these letters you think would mean two?
Mem.
It's not going to be that one. It's going to be this one. It's the shin. Okay. The shin in Hebrew means two teeth. It looks like that. Okay. It's the two teeth. And the two teeth are there to do something. What do you use your two front teeth for?
To bite, to eat.
Bite and to press. Okay. So that's why it's to press. Okay. To put press or pressure. That's what it means. So when the creators decided, he said, I'm going to separate the waters from the waters. And what day did he do this on? Do you know what day he did this on? When he separated the waters and divided it, he did it in a day called Shni. Shani. Okay, that's the second day. That's how you say Shani. And guess what letter this is? It's the Shin. That'll be easy for you to remember. And it means two. Okay. So on day number 2, okay, Yom Shani, Yah did something. He made 2 waters. And one water is called the Shamayim, which are the interpreted or translated as heavens. The second waters is the waters that are down on the ground, right? So you get what they call a dual plural, which means there are 2 of them, 2 waters in 2 locations. Okay, and then I'd say water is essential for plants, animals, and humankind. I put that there in order for us to understand the necessity of water. So does that fit in with, bara? Yes, it does, because you need the water in order to have the food, you see? So this is the reason why the heavens were created, okay? They weren't created for you and I to go live in them. You and I are not going to go live in the clouds, and we're not going to live in the sky. So what we're learning is that we are truly an agricultural people, and we're supposed to be here. This is why this is not religious, because you and I are not a religious people. We're an agricultural people. We're people that understand, okay, and we learn through growth and development, okay? Because we have to see things grow and we have to see things develop. And then we have our seasons, okay? So all of you already know this, but it's good to know and to get an idea about what Better Shift is about, okay? That word comes from the word sea, which is water, Mediterranean, unknown. And basically what the water means is something that's unknown. And in the Hebrew, it means storms and fierceness, and they don't know where it's at. They don't know what it's an unknowable amount. Nobody knows. Okay. So water is a very interesting thing. We know what a retz is. I don't want to talk about that tonight, but I do want to talk about this other word that you found in your Torah portion, which is very important. Let's see. Breath exists. Okay. Let's go here. When Yah found the earth and he came to it, he found it in a place of complete darkness, and the absence of light is gone. It's not there. Okay. I put here that the Torah is light. It's the absence of the Torah. That's why the earth, when he found it, it was void and it didn't have any light. Okay. Because a lot of people ask, well, what is that light? He said, let there be light, and light is or. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. but the earth was in a state of total darkness, complete darkness. The Creator uses darkness to let us know that about what you would call misery and sorrow. That's what it's about. And this is the reason why he's introduced the Torah to it, because without the Torah, you won't have any light. And without the Torah, it's going to be complete darkness and nothing will grow. When I talk about the Torah, I'm not just talking about the instructions that were given to our father Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I'm not talking about the Torah that was given to Mount Sinai. What I'm talking about is a Torah that has instructions to everything. There's instructions for, how the earth is supposed to give. She's been given instructions. When she has a certain amount of minerals or water or whatever it is, she begins to let things grow and things begin to sprout. The instructions are given to the sun and the moon and the stars. There's instructions that has been, there's a Torah for the wind. There's a Torah for the animals. They have instructions. There's a Torah. Why do you think animals migrate, in different seasons? There's a Torah for the insects. There's instructions for bacteria, how things work together. We've turned around and called it science. They're trying to develop and understand how things work, right? They're trying to crack the code. The code is what you would call Torah, okay? So anything that doesn't have Torah or light is void and is empty and is lifeless. So when the Creator sees us, even as one of his creation, like I told you, he's the Elohim of everything. He's not only our Elohim, he's the Elohim of the sun and the moon and the stars. They obey what he says. Everything does, okay? Except for Israel sometimes, okay? So it denotes sadness and it denotes misery. I know a lot of you work in mental health and a lot of you are in the medical profession, and you understand this very well. You see this on a regular basis. You see a lot of sadness, you see a lot of misery, and those people are walking in darkness. And the goal is to get the people out of darkness to bring them into the light. Here's the evidence for the fact that the Torah is light. It's in the book of Proverbs, chapter number 6, verse number 23. It tells us that the commandment, the mitzvah, is a lamp, okay? It's not the light. The mitzvah right here is the commandment, okay? The command is a lamp. It's what holds the light. It's a vessel. So the command that Yah gave us are vessels. And every time you do something, you're supposed to pick up this vessel that has the Torah within it. The Torah is the light of that in particular lamp. So in essence, the Torah is what? Is it a cosmic light? What is Torah? What kind of light is in a lamp?
Fire.
Thank you. Fire is in the lamp. How did Yah come on Mount Sinai?
Through fire.
Came in fire. How does he say he's going to come back and appear to the world and judge them in what?
And fire.
In fire. I'm going to ablaze and burn everything and everybody up. Do you understand? And the reason for that is simply because the Torah is that light. The Torah is not a flashlight. The Torah is not a light you turn on in your house. The Torah is fire. We have an instruction that we're not allowed to set a fire on what day? No fire.
Shabbat.
On Shabbat. And I went over that before to told you that the reason why he doesn't want a fire to be set on that day is because he's coming more than likely on that day in a fire. You see? So the fire is the Torah. You hear about everything else that Yah has made. You've heard about, not created, made. You heard about the heavens. You've heard about the firmament. You've read the last few days about the separated the waters. You heard about the fish and the plant life and the trees and all this, but you never hear about this. You never hear about this. Why don't you hear about fire? Simply because the people who have written these things in English really don't understand. They want to turn the Torah into something religious. The Torah is fire. Okay? It's the light that lights you up. It's what lights up darkness. Back in ancient times, did they have any electricity? What did they have to give them light?
Fire.
Fire. That's when they're writing this, and when Shlomo and David and all these other people are talking about, they're talking about fire. That's what they're talking about. That's what it is. So when we look at what Yah has done with us, and why do you need this lamp, this commandment? Why does a person need a lamp with fire in it? For what?
To see.
You needed to see because you are walking in what?
Darkness.
Walking in darkness. And you're walking in what they would call sadness and misery. So a person that doesn't follow the Torah is going to be in sadness and misery, and they're in darkness, and they are totally blind, and they don't know where they're going. And if you're blind, then you're literally going to get lost, and you're going to leave the what? You're going to leave the path. That's what's going to happen. Do you understand why we need the Torah? We need this. Oh, by the way, what is the sun made of?
Fire.
How much fire? A big ball of fire. Do you hear me? What is the stars made from?
Fire.
Fire. You think it's just a glittering diamond in the sky? Like a diamond in the sky. They got a diamond. No, it's fire. You understand? Listen to this. So koshek is something that's been, keeping something covered. It comes from this word, to be dark, to withhold. In darkness is withheld, what? Holding something back. We don't want to go over all. We already know what that is. I'm looking for my word. Hopefully I can find it. I don't want to do faces. I want to do or. Where is it at? Come on. Ruach. Everyone knows what the Ruach is, don't you?
Breath.
It's the wind, it's the breath. Okay. This is not, just in a little cap here, this is not what Yah filled us with when he breathed into us. He didn't fill us with wind. He didn't fill us with this. He filled us with something else we're going to talk about on Thursday. He didn't fill us with the Ruach. Okay. We have one, but he didn't fill us with this when he breathed into us. He gave us something completely different. Okay. So we'll go over that on Thursday. I'll save that. And we'll talk more about that. We know what Ma'im is. Come on, catch up. I'm looking for my word. What word do you guys think I'm looking for? What's the greatest thing that I just talked about? Oh, there it is. Okay. I got this picture here, which is not a real true representation of what I'm saying. All right. So this is the first thing that the Creator gave and proclaimed to the earth. Or. Okay.
Light.
Yes. Or. This is how you say it in English. Or. Okay. And this is where you get your word order from. Or, order. From this Hebrew word or. Okay. And that means light. Let's go further. Let me explain it to you. So the question is, what is the Hebraic perspective of light? Okay, I'm going to tell you the Hebraic perspective of light. The Hebraic perspective of light, the action of it is order, but it has to do with a box or any other vessel. Okay. Boxes were used to store items in, right? And to keep them in order, right? So the idea of light is necessary for order. Light is necessary. If you can't see what you're putting in the box, or you can't organize, like organize comes from from light. If you don't have if you don't have light, you can't put things in order. See, so when Yah has introduced this word to us, the first time it's ever mentioned, what he is literally doing is I'm going to introduce order to the world, right? So I'm creating, excuse me, I don't want to use that word. I'm establishing an order in the earth. The box is the earth, okay? And I'm going to establish the earth, and I need to put things in order because right now the earth is in complete chaos, okay? And it's in darkness, and it's in misery, and it's in sadness. There is no life. There is no development. There is no opportunity. Excuse my writing. There's no opportunity. If you don't have any order, then you have disorder, which goes back to chaos. Going back to a person, a place, or a thing, if there's disorder, then it doesn't function as it's supposed to. So it's not functional. Okay. So disorder is dysfunction. I know my mental health professionals are loving this class. You got disorder, you got dysfunction, you got chaos. Okay. And you have chaos, then it means that you can't get it together. That means that you're not creating opportunity. And if you don't have any opportunity, you have no, what I would call potential. You have no potential. Because you're so busy messing around with things that are not going to work. You know, it just makes your life terrible. You can't get nothing done. I remember my son was in the 4th grade and he got mad at me because I went to his classroom and I opened up his desk. He thought I was just there to visit him and bring his lunch to him and all that kind of stuff. I walked in and, I didn't say anything to anybody. I went right to his desk. So where's your desk at? He says, over here. I opened up his desk and guess what I saw? I saw complete chaos. And what I did is I went in, I took everything out of it. I threw all the trash. I organized it for him. I brought order to this boy. And it changed his life. He'll never forget that. Okay. It's simply because if you don't have this, you don't have nothing. And you also need this in your house. And where does the order come from? It comes from the or. It comes from the light. It comes from the Torah. That's what it comes from. Do you guys play with fire?
No.
No. So should you play with the Torah?
No.
You play with it, you go get burned. Okay. And that's the reason why Yah is saying anything that's devoted to destruction, I need you to, set it on fire. If you have a daughter who's been playing the whore in your house, he says, take her to the front. And she's especially from a Kohanim's daughter. Take her. The other daughters, they don't get burned. The other daughters get stoned. Okay. The Kohanim's and the Leviim's daughters, if they were playing the harlot while they're in their father's house, they're taken out to the front of the house and set on fire. How you like that? I was telling my daughter, you better hope that I'm not a Leviim and you better hope that you stay pure, because if you're not, you're going to get the torch. That's just the way it goes. Okay. So the creator here says, Elohim said, let there be light, let there be or, and there was light, meaning let there exist and let there be this light. Okay. And he saw that the or was good, that it was functional. So now he's giving us the clue and telling us what this light is. And guess what? This light was prior. There was no light on the first day, no light on the second day, and no light on the third day in terms of solar light. There's no solar light. So this is the light that Yah has introduced, which is the Torah. But did he just stop the Torah on those days? Which I want to bring to your attention. Now that I got 1, 2, 3 up here. How many days did Yah create the earth in?
How many days did he create everything?
Oh, let me take that. I hate that word, create. How many days did it take for him to fill the earth, the heavens and the earth? Huh?
6.
6 days. Everyone agree on that? Okay. And then the 7th, he what?
Rested.
Okay. He ceased from his work. Okay. He ceased, completely stopped. First day he does or. Second day he does the heavens. Or I was going to shamayim, just say the heavens, just in English, forgive me. Third day, what does he do?
Gather the seeds together.
Yes, he shows the earth and he gathers the waters, right? So we'll just use waters. That's perfect. The fourth day.
You made the great lights.
Thank you. Great lights, right? Fifth day.
He created
Birds.
Birds and fish. Okay.
creeping things.
And the yeah, well, no, not the creeping things, the things that swarmed, the swarmers in the water. Sixth
Okay.
day. What do you do on the sixth day?
He made man and animals, didn't
Yeah, he made man and he made animal life, right? And the creeping things and those things that are in the ground, right? So you got the creepers in the dirt, the swarmers of the dirt, okay? So the
Okay.
swarmers in the sea, the swarmers in there, okay? So so the first day, which is in our understanding that you and I have been told is called the SUN day, okay? That's what they call it. And we'll talk more about that on Yom Kamishi. Okay. And the next day is, Monday, Tuesday, and all this kind of stuff. All right. So the first 3 days, there was no solar light. So the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth day, was there, if there was light on the first day, was there light on the second day? If there was ore on the first day, was there ore on the second day?
Yes.
Yes. Was there ore on the third day?
Yes.
Was there ore on the fourth day?
Yes.
Okay, so ore was all the way through, right? So I mention this because I was talking to Dr. Ured and I brought this point out that every single, let me just clear this right quick. I don't have to do all that. When Yah talks about the first, okay, called Yom, because that's what he names the light. He calls out to it. He calls it, it's a whole other thing. But the first day, he doesn't call Yom Rishon. He calls it Yom Akkad. Okay. So Yom Akkad is for us to say first day is incorrect. It's not the first day. It is day 1. Okay. That's what we call it. We shouldn't call it the first day because it's not called Yom Rishon. It's not called Yom Rishon. And the reason why I'm going to explain this to you. There's 2 different types of sequences when you're talking about numbers. Okay. So numbers come in 2 fashions. Okay. The first way that it comes is called a cardinal number. Okay. And the second way is called a ordinal number. Okay. Ordinal number has to do with the word order, meaning first day, second day, third, fourth, and so on. Fifth, and then sixth, and seventh, and eighth, and ninth, and 10th, okay, and so forth. Okay. That's the order in something. Okay. The cardinals is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, going all the way down. Okay. So what Yah has stipulated in the Torah, which is something we need to remember, he never called it the first day. He never called it that. He called it Yom Akkad. And the reason why he calls it Yom Akkad is because there was no other day before it. You understand? Meaning that there didn't exist anything. This is not a series of I'm creating something in order in days. Okay. What he did was he created Yom Akkad, or he established Yom Akkad. Okay. And based upon Yom Akkad, he built upon Yom Akkad. Okay. So Yom Akkad, the first Yom was Akkad, and he did or. Okay. Then he said, well, I'm going to do it over again. I'm going to do Yom Akkad over again. So I'll have a second day. And that's going to be established called Yom Shani. That's a ordinal number. So every other day after that's ordinal. The first one is not an ordinal number. The first day is a cardinal number. That meant that the Creator, when he built Yom Akkad, everything else was like a consecutive after that. So what he did was he built upon this day. For example, you start a project on day one of your project. Okay. Say, what do you want to build? What do you guys want to build? Give me a topic. What do you want to build?
What do we want to what? I'm sorry.
What do you want to build? Say we were going to do a project. What did you want to build? You want to build a box, or what do you want to do? Or build a garden?
Let's build a house.
Let's do a house. Okay. So day one, you do the house, right? So your goal is to do the house. So the first thing you're going to do with the house is what? You're going to lay out the plans. Okay. That's what you're going to do. You're going to draw out the plans. Okay. Okay. That's day one. You're going to establish, I want to draw out the plans. I want to know what everything is. I want to organize everything. I'm going to bring order to everything, and I'm going to get all what I want to do. I'm going to establish that. When you go back on day number 2 or the second day of your plan, you're going to do something else. You're going to establish or take, you're going to start doing things off your checklist. You know, like if your plans were included to like, hey, I'm going to do the foundation. So when you go back after you did these plans on this day and you have organized everything, now you're ready to really get down and start doing your work. Now that things are going to be organized. So then you start with the next thing. So the second day that you go back, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And the third day, you're going to go back and do this. And then the fourth day, you're going to go back and do this. And then the fifth day, you're going to go back and do this. Then you keep building upon what you established on day number 1. So what happens is we're thinking that the Creator has these 7 different days, or 6 different days that he's doing something completely different. What we're not understanding is he's building upon day number 1. So everything from day or the second to the 6th day, or including the 7th day, everything was established and predicated on day number 1. And day number 1 was this, which we found is the Torah. So everything from the 2nd day to the 3rd day to the 4th day to the 5th day would have never been possible without the light, without the Torah. It would have never been established without it. Okay. That's what we always have to remember. So instructions, so light is the instructions, because it's the Torah. It's the instructions on things to move the way that he wants it to move. You see? So I wanted to bring that little point out. Okay. Also too, let's look at something else. What time is it? Okay. I got a few minutes left for you. All right. Well, that's okay. Wayar Elohim et ha'or. No, I'm not gonna bring that point out. I'm not gonna bring that out. Okay. Yeah, the Torah is a lamp. All right. Okay, then I went back to Koshek. Okay. So basically that's it, everyone. So the complete darkness is the absence of light, and the absence of light is the absence of the Torah. Okay. And we found out tonight that this was necessary and needed in order to establish things in the right way, in order to bring order. So the moment that you take out the Torah, then everything becomes chaos and then it gets bad. Yah has been ruling everything, and still everything right now. A lot of people think that the Creator built everything and then he walked away, and now it's all running on autopilot. And that's not true. That's not true at all. According to the text, especially in the prophets, he talks about how he's still making sure that things happen. So he's established it. He's called out to these days. However, what he gives in terms of the command is what keeps everything going. It's the commands. And also, too, we know that there's malachim that are at his service, and they're in charge of certain things, meaning like they're in charge of, I think in the book of Job, it talks about how the heavens are, there's different malachims that are in charge of different gates and so forth and so on. So the creator has established this. He established Torah as the foundation of the earth. And without it, we would not have any instructions. And the things that you and I enjoy, like the wind and the air and the breath and the water and all these different things, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for the Torah. So all the water disappeared out of, or that is disappearing out of the Mississippi River. Why do you think it's going away? Why do you guys think that water's disappearing? Because Yah is giving instructions. He's giving instructions. Why do you think the water disappeared in China? Why do you think the Colorado River is going dry? Because Yah has given instructions to tell it what to do. You understand? So he's always giving out instructions. And based upon the Torah, when he says it, when he declares out to it, now listen, when he speaks, and it becomes what it needs to be, all he has to do is say anything, and everything, our existence as we know it right now, would disappear. Just like what do they call it? Marvel Comics, when you had, what's his name? Thanos, he snapped his finger and he changed and the whole world went up. Have you guys ever seen that movie where he just snapped his fingers and everything just went away? That's what the creator is talking about. He literally can snap his fingers or give a word, and that's it. Nothing would ever be remembered. All he has to do is speak. You see? So that's very humbling, Anyway, I'm gonna follow with this class on Yom Kamishi. If the creator is willing, I'll be able to do that class, and we'll be able to do our class on Shabbat as well. And I thank each and every last one of you for spending time with us tonight. Anyone have any questions or remarks? Or any additions, subtractions? Oh,
I have a quick question. In a previous lesson, you mentioned that Moshe, I think it was when he was on Mount Sinai with Yahweh, you said that Moshe got sick to his stomach. I've not been able to find that anywhere. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, he says in the book, let's see right here. More than likely, was it in 4? I think Deuteronomy. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is in chapter number 3rd. I'm gonna answer your question in a second here, Koti, Renee.
Yes.
Let's go chapter 30, 33, 32. I want to show it to you. Yeah, because when I saw it, it kind of bothered me. I got to find it in English first, and then I'll tell you in Hebrew. It's in Exodus, in Shemot, and it's in chapter number 32, I believe, where he said that he fell down before the Creator. Let me see, the work of Elohim, terrible sin, decide. Koti, I'm gonna find exactly where, because I think it's gonna take me a little bit. I'm gonna find where it is, but it talks about Moshe, the word for plead, meaning I know it has to do with the time when they made the golden calf and how he pleaded. It's either in Deuteronomy chapter number 10, 9 or 10, or it's even Exodus, where it says that he pleaded with the Creator. And what it was, that word plead there means that he got physically ill, he got sick. So I'll find that for you and I'll get it to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Because it's in Hebrew, it's not in English. That's why you probably can't find it. And that's why I can't find it real quick either, because it's in Hebrew. Akoti Renee.
Oh, shalom. I just wanted to share something about the ox.
Okay.
And so I was just on my way from work and ended up having to get off the interstate to check something on my car, but I ended up on this country road and I saw like a bull and it had these super long horns.
Uh-huh.
It was very beautiful, but I mean, I just realized like, how do the other, like cows navigate around those long horns,
Well, yeah. How did they navigate around them because of two horns? Well, some of them have real long horns like that, and others don't. Sometimes they cut their horns. I do know that. I think Jeannie sent me a video. Samia, she has a video when she went to Africa, and they had these two oxen together. So she has a video if you ever want to see it. She does have a video showing how they had these two oxen yoked together. So some of them have long horns like that, and usually those are by themselves. I think a steer, they're like by themselves, but they are beautiful. Did you see it in Vacaville? Is that where you saw it?
I did. So I got off of work and there was some bacon on my car, but I didn't see anything. So I got off the interstate and I didn't realize how country it is back there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but the bull it was by itself, but there was other cows. But they were in a little bit of a distance. And I was like, well, how did they navigate around those horns? Yeah, but it was very long. Like,
they don't
extremely.
bother them. Yeah, they don't bother them. But that's y'all's power is
Right.
indicative. Yeah, I know what you're talking about too, because I've seen that same steer around that area. I know it's the back road is in Vacaville.
Right. You're right.
Yep. That's how I knew where it was, because I remember seeing it. That ox over there. Hallelujah. Thank you for that. Akoti Pam, I'll get that to you. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? No, Sister Pam gonna have me and Akoti gonna have me up all night looking for this, and because no, it's on.
Oh no. No.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's hard to find it in Hebrew because it's hard. You got something in English, you could go right to it. You know what I mean? But if it's in Hebrew, you gotta be like, okay, well, where did I see that at? Right? Because pleading, one's etanon and the other one's something else. So they give one word like 3 or 4 different translations. But anyway, when I looked it up, he was sick. So he got and only 2 places that could be is those accounts of the 40 days when he went up there and said, like, I got sick. Because I was sick because he was going to destroy you. So he got physically ill. So I'll find that for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Well, shalom to you. You guys have a good evening. Lila Tov. Until next time.